Alright guys, in today's video we are going to talk about how you can know if you are in a cult. Now it's important to note that most of these techniques are done on such a subtle level that it will be very difficult to notice if someone is using these on you. If you start to notice any similarities with the institution that you're a part of, I know it can be scary finding these things out. The way beliefs work in your brain when they're questioned is the same as if a predator were running towards you in the forest. But that feeling is important for you to listen to. It's the feeling that something is not right. Now, it's impossible to know you're being lied to when you're not being told the information that they're lying about. This is why it's so important to investigate the information about the organization from third parties. So with that said, let's go over the cult bite model to find out if you or someone you know is in a cult. Okay, so BITE stands for behavior, informational, thought, and emotional control. Based on the research and theory by Robert J. Lifton, Margaret Singer, Edgar Schein, Louis Jolyon West, and others who studied brainwashing in Maoist China, as well as cognitive dissonance theory by Leon Bessinger, Steven Hassan developed the BITE model to describe the specific methods that cults use to recruit and maintain control over people. So I'm going to be sharing a few real-world examples next to the examples given in the cult BITE model to see if you may have experienced something like this. For controlling behavior, cults usually have a rigid set of rules to follow. They might dictate how you should dress or the clothing you should wear. They might dictate the food or beverage you can eat and drink. Restrict or control sexuality, require you to report thoughts, feelings, and activities to superiors, exploit you financially, encourage you to spy and report on others' misconduct. Okay, so those are the ways they might control your behavior. Here are a few ways they might control your information. This includes requiring members to internalize the group's doctrine as truth, claiming to have the one and only truth, labeling all other belief systems as illegitimate, telling you that outside sources are lying to you, that they are misinformed, that they don't have the whole story. Forbid critical questions about a leader, doctrine, or policy. Discourage access to non-cult sources of information. Warning members to stay away from certain internet websites. Generate and use propaganda extensively. Newsletters, magazines, journals, videotapes, conferences. Trust that the leaders are speaking with God and that they know what's best for you and that they are telling you God's will for you, and do not question what they tell you. Only the leadership can decide who needs to know what and when. Don't talk badly about the leaders or point out any human flaws in them.
It's wrong to criticize leaders of the church, even if the criticism is true.
If someone else is speaking badly about the organization, stand up and defend the organization and point out the good in the organization. Do not listen to anything that they're saying that might be bad, even if it is true. Don't ask too many questions. They'll often use loaded language and cliches which constrict you from learning more about a topic, stopping your critical thinking, and reducing complex ideas into platitudes and buzzwords. What you commonly see is they deliberately withhold information from the members, and if the members ever find out, they distort the information to make it look more acceptable. Misquoting statements or using them out of context from the non-cult sources. Forbid you from speaking with ex-members and critics. They will make you feel incredible amounts of fear about things like looking at outside information, asking questions about the doctrines, indoctrinating a phobia of not having any happiness if you leave, losing your salvation if you ever leave, having the disapproval of all of your family and community, speaking about people who leave as if they are brainwashed, and shunning of friends and family. You might see this by an institution telling you that there can be no happiness outside of this religion, that all of the happiness in your life is only going to be found within our religion. They speak badly about the people who leave, that it is a bleak and dark and dreary world out there outside of our religion. People who leave are extremely looked down upon. They are talked badly about inside the organization. You cannot trust anyone who has left the institution. Do not trust anything they are telling you. That's an outside source. They're especially disgruntled. They'll use character defamation for the people who leave. They'll tell you those people just couldn't handle it. They are flawed, they are bad. It is always the person's fault for leaving. It is never a flaw with the institution. The institution is perfect and has never done anything wrong.
There have been times when members or leaders in the church have simply made mistakes. It is unfortunate that some have stumbled because of mistakes made by men. But in spite of this, the eternal truth of the restored gospel found in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is not tarnished.
I know that Joseph Smith, who acknowledged that he wasn't perfect, was nevertheless the chosen instrument in God's hand to restore the everlasting gospel to the earth.
True prophets have made and do make mistakes. However, God always leads his people in his own chosen way. Ellen White did make simple human mistakes, but it can be counted and considered as a direct communication, instruction, commandment from God.
That only God has the right to correct his messengers. We don't correct messengers, God can. It's not like they're beyond scrutiny. They can even be scrutinized, but the only one who can scrutinize them would be God himself. That we never confuse them with God the God of perfection himself.
When we focus on the faults of others, it breeds a critical spirit, which can ultimately lead to disloyalty. But when we focus on good in others and in Jehovah's organization, it breeds appreciation for all that's been done, which leads to loyalty to our God and the body of worshipers that he's using today.
Gaslighting is a technique used by abusers. These institutions use this all the time. This includes making the member look bad for pointing out a certain doctrine if it doesn't look good on the institution. Shower you with praise and attention when you do what's right. Label some emotions as evil, worldly, sinful, or wrong. Promote feelings of guilt, shame, and unworthiness. Changing your identity, possibly even your name. If you or anyone you know seems to be in an institution that is doing any of this, and especially if the institution is doing all or most of these things, you need to step back and you need to investigate the organization that you are part of. You may go through a grieving process leaving the cult, but I promise you that there is love and happiness and beauty on the other side, despite what your organization may have told you. I'm Bethany, and I have devoted my channel to helping people who are leaving high-demand religions. Do you know anyone who is stuck in a high-demand religion or cult? What is your biggest fear that comes up when you hear this information? Leave a comment and let me know, and I hope to see you in the next video. Every time I go to